Are you building a blog from scratch and every time you sit down to write a post, it's absolute agony? What do you write? How long should it be? What tone should you take? I did the same thing when I started blogging and writing. And something that helped me, I'm gonna share with you right now, is slotting your blog posts into 5 types. Now, these aren't the only types, but these are a good starter, and these are the ones we use on GrowthLab.com. Let's take them one at a time. Type number 1, a case study. Surely you have students or people you've helped or customers. Tell me everything. Tell me where you started, the process you took. Give me all the nitty-gritty details. Give me the numbers, the revenue, the weight they lost, the things they said to their date to land the date. I want everything. You are telling me a very long story. Now, it's easy for you as the writer because you were there and it goes into the sequence of a story. And as the reader, I love that depth. Most blog posts are very surface level. You're going deep and you're giving me numbers and actual tactics and techniques. Case studies are one of the building blocks of a new blog, and it's a great place to start. Number 2, a tip. This is the opposite of number 1. A tip is short. You're giving me 500 words, 700 words tops. You're telling me one thing. Not 5 things, not 4 things, not the story about the time you went to the store. No, I want one thing, in and out. Tell me the wisdom you have to share, tell me what it does, and let me get on with my life. These are really quick to write, and if you're savvy, you can build up 5 to 10 of these and schedule them out all throughout the year, and they can serve as good changes of pace between your longer stuff. Post type number 3, thought leadership. This is the equivalent of an opinion column. Now, whatever industry or whatever community you're helping, you're an expert. You've seen the boundaries, you've seen the controversial topics, you know what that community cares about, and you have an opinion. Share it intelligently, no hot takes here, but back up what you have to say and make people read this post and go, that's very thoughtful. Advance the conversation around whatever niche or community you're a part of. And here's a hint, your community is not other entrepreneurs, it's not other business people. So let's say you run a travel blog and you teach people how to use airline miles effectively. There's some controversies in that community. There's some flashpoints. And if you've been staring at this community for long enough, you have a very educated opinion. You're probably in the top 5% of people qualified to talk about this. So talk about it. These posts are around 1,000 words. They can't get too lengthy, but they have an argument, they build on the argument, they use examples from your experience, and then you leave. These are great ways to spur conversation and to elevate yourself as an expert in your field. Number 4, this one's super simple, a Q&A, question and answer. Find someone your audience cares about and interview them. Or find someone who is successful from your audience and interview them about how they got there. These posts are really simple. Just give me 150 words of context of who this person is and why should I care. You might even want to pull a juicy quote from the interview and put it up top, and then lead me into you say something, they say something. You say something, they say something. Now, you're gonna wanna write the whole transcript out and not touch it, but most interviews you read online are edited for length and clarity. So really go over the interview. Get rid of the ums and ahs, delete whole questions where nothing significant was said. As an editor, you need to look at every single question and go, is this teaching me something new about the person or the thing they're talking about? If so, great. And an added benefit of the Q&A is whoever you're talking to probably has an audience of their own. They're gonna share it with their audience, and all of a sudden, both your audiences know about each other's work, and everybody wins. And an extra pro tip when you're doing a Q&A, especially if it's someone notable, read every single interview they've ever done, and never ask them any of those questions. An interview subject will come to life if you ask them questions they've never been asked before, or you ask them to consider things they've never considered before. If you've ever seen an interview after a sporting event and they go, how did it feel to win today? The athlete doesn't care because they've been asked that 100 times. Be original, be unique, and add some value. Number 5, and the last type of post you should consider, is a current event tie-in. So let's say a movie's out or a celebrity is making noise and you can somehow tie some part of their lesson to your site and your community. Awesome. We did something like this on GrowthLab when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather in a mixed UFC boxing match. There was the talk of anyone who paid attention to sports. We distilled down the marketing and business lessons from someone as ingenious as Conor McGregor is at marketing and business, and we translated them to our audience with actual takeaways. It was fun to write, it was relevant, and it's kind of like light popcorny content, but it also teaches something through the framework of something everybody knows. And that Conor McGregor post drew people to GrowthLab who would never have heard of us anyway. We had a small influx of people who were really into UFC. They're really great at responding to emails. So these are the 5 blog post types we use at GrowthLab. Now, there's hundreds of kinds of blog post types. And in fact, I'm an editorial nerd, I wanna read them. So if you have a type of blog post and a link of an example, put it in the comments. And if you write something really good, you should probably pitch it to me to be on GrowthLab.